Imagine a quiet, unassuming man working as a lorry driver, living a seemingly normal life in northern England. Now imagine that same man is unleashing a reign of terror, brutally murdering women across multiple counties, leaving entire communities gripped by fear. That's the chilling reality of Peter Sutcliffe, known as the Yorkshire Ripper. Today, we're going to delve into the horrifying story of Peter Sutcliffe. We'll explore his early life, the escalating pattern of his crimes, the immense, yet flawed, police hunt that struggled to identify him, and how he was eventually brought to justice. It's a story of fear, frustration, and the devastating impact of a serial killer on a nation. Peter William Sutcliffe was born in Shipley, West Yorkshire, on June 2, 1946. Raised in a working-class family, he was one of 6 children. His mother was Catholic, and his father was Anglican, leading to a somewhat fractured religious upbringing, though the children were raised Catholic. Reports suggest a difficult home environment, with his father being abusive. Sutcliffe was often described as a loner in his youth. He left school at 15 and drifted through various menial jobs, including a factory worker and, notably, a gravedigger. This latter occupation reportedly fostered a macabre sense of humor, with coworkers noting his unusual enjoyment of the work, even volunteering for overtime washing corpses. He also developed an obsession with voyeurism, spending time spying on prostitutes. In 1967, Sutcliffe met Sonia Surma, whom he would marry in 1974. Despite presenting a quiet facade, his disturbing tendencies were already present. His first documented assault occurred in 1969, an attack on a prostitute with a stone and a sock. He was questioned by police, but the victim did not press charges, a missed opportunity that would have tragic consequences. After marrying Sonia, Sutcliffe continued his various jobs, eventually qualifying as a heavy goods vehicle HGV driver. While outwardly appearing settled, financial difficulties and a growing internal darkness simmered beneath the surface. He was dismissed from an HGV job in 1976 for theft of tires, indicating a disregard for rules even in his everyday life. Sutcliffe's obsession with prostitutes grew, reportedly fueled by a negative experience where he felt conned by a prostitute and her pimp. This grievance, combined with a developing delusional belief that he was on a divine mission to cleanse the streets, began to take hold. He started cruising red light districts, observing and planning, transforming his dark thoughts into a murderous resolve. By the mid-1970s, his fantasies were no longer enough. The unseen shift from twisted thoughts to violent action had begun. His initial attacks, though not fatal, were brutal and showed a clear intent to cause severe harm, often using a hammer to bludgeon his victims. The nightmare truly began in July 1975, when Sutcliffe attacked 36-year-old Anna Rogalskij in Keighley, bludgeoning her with a hammer and slashing her. She miraculously survived. Just a month later, in August, he attacked 46-year-old Olive Smelt in Halifax with similar ferocity. Both women survived, but were left with severe physical and psychological trauma. He also attacked 14-year-old Tracy Brown in August 1975, a crime he confessed to years later. On October 30, 1975, the attacks escalated to murder. Wilma McCann, a 28-year-old mother of 4, was brutally killed in Leeds, bludgeoned with a hammer and stabbed repeatedly. This marked the beginning of a terrifying spree, and her murder was the first confirmed victim in what would become the Yorkshire Ripper case. In the months that followed, more women were attacked and murdered. Sutcliffe's modus operandi often involved approaching women, usually prostitutes in or near red light districts, striking them from behind with a hammer, and then mutilating their bodies with a knife or sharpened screwdriver. The sheer brutality and the focus on specific victims began to send shivers through northern England. Throughout 1976 and 1977, the murders continued, intensifying in frequency and spreading across West Yorkshire and beyond. Emily Jackson, Irene Richardson, Patricia Atkinson, Jay MacDonald, and Jean Jordan were among his victims during this period. The murder of 16-year-old Jay MacDonald, who was not a prostitute, shattered the initial police theory that only sex workers were being targeted, causing widespread panic among the general public. The communities of Leeds, Bradford, and surrounding areas were gripped by immense fear. Women were terrified to go out alone at night. The police launched one of the largest manhunts in British history, involving millions of hours, but struggled to find the killer. The investigation was hampered by a massive amount of information on index cards, without the aid of computers, and by crucial missteps. Sutcliffe's methods were consistently brutal. He would bludgeon his victims with a hammer, often followed by extensive stabbing and mutilation. The horrific nature of his attacks and the severe mutilation indicated a deeply disturbed individual who derived pleasure from the violence itself. His confirmed victim list grew rapidly. From October 1975 to November 1980, Sutcliffe murdered 13 women. These included Wilma McCann, Emily Jackson, Irene Richardson, Patricia Atkinson, Jay McDonald, Jean Jordan, Yvonne Pearson, Helen Ritka, Vera Millward, Josephine Whitaker, Barbara Leach, Marguerite Walls, and Jacqueline Hill. He also attempted to murder at least 7 others, leaving them with severe injuries and lasting trauma. The age range of his victims varied, from teenagers to older women. The investigation was plagued by difficulties. The sheer volume of information, coupled with poor inter-force communication, made it hard to connect the dots. Sutcliffe himself was meticulously careful, leaving little forensic evidence at many of his abduction sites. A significant setback occurred in 1979 when a hoaxer, who became known as Wearside Jack, sent a tape recording and letters purporting to be the Ripper. The hoaxer had a Northeast accent, which unfortunately led police to concentrate their search on suspect from that region, diverting resources for 18 crucial months. During this time, Sutcliffe killed 3 more women. Astonishingly, Peter Sutcliffe was interviewed by police 9 times during the course of the investigation, often letting him go due to various factors. At one point, he was even questioned after being found with a hammer and knife, but managed to evade suspicion. Survivors who described their assailant as having a Yorkshire accent were often disregarded because of the hoax tape. Sutcliffe later admitted it was a miracle he wasn't caught sooner. Despite the extensive manhunt, Sutcliffe claimed 2 more lives in 1980, Marguerite Walls in August and Jacqueline Hill in November. The public's fear reached a fever pitch, and the pressure on the police to catch the Ripper was immense. His reign of terror finally ended on January 2, 1981. Peter Sutcliffe was stopped in Sheffield by 2 police officers, Sergeant Robert Ring and Constable Robert Hides, who noticed his car had false license plates. He was with a prostitute, Olivia Reavers. As he was being taken into custody, Sutcliffe asked to urinate behind a bush where he attempted to stash a hammer and knife. This led to a search of his car, where more tools associated with his crimes were found. Once in custody, after 2 days of intense questioning, Sutcliffe dramatically confessed, stating, "It's all right. I know what you're leading up to. The Yorkshire Ripper. It's me. I killed all those women." He then calmly detailed his many attacks, claiming he was on a divine mission to kill prostitutes. Peter Sutcliffe's trial began in May 1981. Despite his confession to police, he pleaded not guilty to murder, claiming diminished responsibility due to his divine mission delusion. However, the jury rejected this plea. On May 22, 1981, he was found guilty of 13 murders and 7 attempted murders, receiving 20 concurrent life sentences. The death penalty had been abolished in the UK in 1965. Sutcliffe was initially sent to prison, but in 1984, he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and transferred to Broadmoor Hospital, a high-security psychiatric facility. He spent decades there, eventually being moved back to a prison in 2016. Peter Sutcliffe died on November 13, 2020, at the age of 74, after contracting COVID-19 and reportedly refusing treatment. The Yorkshire Ripper case had a profound and lasting impact on British policing. It exposed significant flaws in investigative procedures, particularly the lack of inter-force data sharing and the dangers of misdirection from hoaxes. It also brought to light societal issues, including the initial disregard for victims who were sex workers and the need for a more victim-centric approach to serious crime. Sutcliffe's banality, coupled with his hidden brutality, serves as a chilling reminder that evil can indeed hide in plain sight, even in the most ordinary of individuals. The story of Peter Sutcliffe is a stark one, filled with tragedy and missed opportunities. What aspect of this case do you find most disturbing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about the intricacies of true crime investigations, be sure to subscribe for our next deep dive.